All right, I'm gonna try my best to keep my thoughts quick on this one. I chose to watch "Should We Let Students Use ChatGPT?" the TEDx talk by Natasha Berg, and no ill will towards this lady. I don't know her, and a lot of the stuff she was actually saying was, I think, reasonable. About the fact that we should use, you know, collaboration and project-based learning and all that stuff. And that stuff is kind of AI proofed because you see the work happen in class. I think that's true. Sorry, my dogs are playing. I think that's true. I agree with her on that. That's important that we should be doing that. We shouldn't just be having all the kids like sit in rows silently writing essays all day or whatever. But I didn't much like this talk. It frustrated me. It frustrated me greatly because it touched on a lot of things that are like personal pet peeves of mine. The idea that like AI is gonna change the world. Sure. I really chafe at the framing of this as if it's like a benefit. The reason AI is gonna change how we interact with the world is because AI is, whether we like it or not, being put into everything we interact with technologically by every tech company that exists. I didn't ask them for this. I don't like it and I don't want it. This is against my will. And as far as I see it, sure, there are some beneficial uses. Whatever. You can save some time on tasks, but how are people actually... Alright, hang on a second. Sorry about that. How are people actually using this technology? Because, like, at least the way I see it advertised to me, Google wants me to use Gemini to, like, write my emails for me, to summarize. I had Instagram try to get me to use their AI to read my own text messages for me as if that was too cognitively demanding a task for me. Like, everywhere I look, I see tech companies who are actively approaching me and saying, hey, it's okay, you don't have to think, you don't have to read your own emails. We can do it for you and give you a bullet list about the points in it. We can write your emails for you. We can replace a search engine for you so that you only get information from our tech. Like, it's dystopian. It's like, I don't like it. I chafe at the idea that this is just a given to be good. Like, as if like every new technology is just destined to improve our lives. They're not. They're just tools. It depends on how we use them. And I don't think the people who are selling these tools and maintaining these tools necessarily have our best interests at heart. That's kind of my concern. And also, because, like, we know that ChatGPT, like, it's not smart. It's a word prediction machine. That's its job. It doesn't know whether the information it says is right or wrong. It can't. It doesn't have that ability. So ultimately, we're like, I feel like we're all playing with a tool that we don't actually understand. And while it's true that we should, you know, to a certain extent, it's kind of here to stay, and we should account for that in our design. I chafe at the idea that it's something that needs to be embraced. Next is the point on. I'm not even getting into the environmental concerns, by the way. Like, this technology is remarkably wasteful in terms of natural resources. And frankly, I don't think the benefit of being able to, blow through emails quicker or make lesson plans quicker or whatever outweighs the fact that it is remarkably unsustainable on a society-wide level. And that's my brief aside about the environmental concerns. Next is the whole like, oh, when is this going to be useful? Oh, do we really need to teach kids how to write 5-page papers? Do we really need to teach kids how to diagram sentences? And I can't believe I'm saying this to like an educational professional, but like we don't have kids write 5 paragraph essays and diagram sentences for the purpose of specifically having them produce essays with 5 paragraphs or diagrams of sentences. The product is not the point, it's the skills, okay? And like I don't want I want to believe that I don't have to explain why understanding the way that English sentences work is a useful skill. Like I don't want to have to explain why that's useful, right? Like what do you need in order to diagram a sentence? You need to know how English grammar works. You need to have a good understanding of the underlying system that our language uses to communicate information. And like that's a really important thing to know. Language is the most important skill. Communication is the most important skill, period. It will be useful in your life, I promise you. No matter what you do, you need to talk to people. And having an understanding of how our language does that is good because it's applicable to other types of communication. And like the essay, it's not about writing an essay. That's not why you write essays. It's about knowing how to lay out an argument and support it with evidence and tie it together in a digestible and understandable and intuitive way. It's like going to the gym and being like, well, why do I need to do bicep curls? Well, when will this be useful? And it's like, it's not about the curl. It's about the skill. It's about the strength of your muscle. This is going to be useful even if you're never going to have a situation where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm so glad I practiced doing this motion over and over. And like, no, it's about the muscle. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this to like educational professionals. Oh man, not to mention the fact that I really, really chafe at this like hyper consumer, like to me it's really like LinkedIn workflow office brained approach to education where like every single thing we do in the classroom has to be like perfectly streamlined and optimized to be 100% practically relevant to their professional lives. Like no, that is incredibly narrow. Your professional life is only a small piece of the person you are and the life you live and the contribution you make to our society. I think there's just an inherent good in understanding things. I think the fact that humans can think critically and be curious and want to understand how stuff works is the reason we were able to do things like build cities, invent agriculture, domesticate animals, go to the moon. Like, we wouldn't be able to do these things if we were like, if every task we approached, we were like, yeah, but like, when am I going to need to know how to do this? How many times do you go on a rabbit hole and learn about something just because you think it's like neat? And it's never going to be, you don't know if it's going to be practically relevant. Because there's the other point about this. Students like, hey, when is this going to be relevant? I don't know. I can't read the future. You don't know either. You don't know that you're never going to need this information. Because neither of us can read the future. We don't know what's going to happen to you. I can't say if it's going to be directly relevant to your professional life or any other part of your life, but you know what? I think it doesn't hurt you to know it. Like, it's just I feel like my axiomatic values about education are just like fundamentally opposed to this whole worldview. And yeah, I know that, you're not going to be able to get rid of it unless you 100% go back to paper. I don't necessarily think that would be 100% a bad thing. I mean, there's really useful applications of computers and stuff, but I don't think we should forget how to write on a piece of paper, But yeah, I don't know. Maybe call me what's the word? The people who don't like technology. I'm blanking on it. Call me one of those if you like. Luddite, that's the word. Call me a Luddite if you like. I don't know. I don't think this is a technological advancement in the vein of labor saving devices we've seen throughout history or even the internet. I think this is different. I think it's unnecessary, at least in its current state. Like, I don't know, maybe one day it comes to a point where it is genuinely useful. I don't know. I just think we're investing way too much money into this thing that is incredibly unsustainable and doesn't actually solve a problem. Yeah.